things I can, and wisdom to know the difference.
Hey, Kat.
Happy Thanksgiving Eve to everybody. We'll begin the meeting as we do every week. We'll do anniversaries. There's a couple cities that are not on tonight. I think I know which one. So tonight we'll start with Butler, Pennsylvania. Butler.
I know where that is.
No anniversaries tonight, and thank you for asking, and happy Thanksgiving to all.
Thank you very much, man. Seattle, Andy.
No birthdays here, Ken.
Thank you, Andy.
No anniversaries here tonight, right?
No birthdays, Ken. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Pittsburgh 2. Bismarck.
Yes, Nikki has 1 year.
Nikki has 1 year. Bismarck. Congratulations, Nick. Indiana, Jason.
No birthdays tonight, Ken.
Thank you, Jason. Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Thanks, Ken.
All right, thank you, Noah. Lorraine, Ohio.
No anniversary tonight, Ken.
Thank you, Edward. Warren, Ohio. Warren, Ohio. Kansas City.
No birthdays tonight, Ken. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Brooklyn, New York.
Hi, Ken. No anniversaries tonight.
Thank you very much. Vacaville.
Thank you, Ken. No birthdays. Happy holidays.
Same to you. Minot.
None tonight. Thank you, Ken.
Thank you, Minot. Cleveland.
Not tonight, Ken.
Thank you, Dolly. Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Not tonight, Ken. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Chris. Happy Thanksgiving. Somebody else. Is Grove City in here tonight?
We are, and no anniversaries tonight.
All right. Thank you, Grove City. Amherst, Ohio.
None here tonight, Ken.
Thank you, Vivian. That was Carol in Amherst. Vivian, Hilton Head.
Happy Thanksgiving, Ken. None here tonight.
Thank you, Vivian. Philadelphia.
No birthdays tonight, Ken. Thanks.
Thank you, Amber. All right, Sandusky, Ohio, a year or more.
I wasn't here for my 2 years, but I do have 29 months today. I'd like to say thanks to everybody in this room. This is definitely one of the meetings that helped me get there.
All right, we had a man celebrate 2 years here. All right. Okay. We return to the text on page 120.
120. Sorry.
I believe, what paragraph we on there, James?
We're almost done.
Where it says we never? All right, last paragraph on page 120. We never. Now that's kind of important. Never, right? Try to arrange a man's life so as to shield him from temptation. The slightest disposition on your part to guide his appointments or his affairs so he will not be tempted will be noticed. We saw this at the same thing at the end of the chapter, Working with Others, when it talked about the Eskimo, right? You send the guy off, listen, if you're going to drink, you're going to drink. We cannot try to arrange people's lives so as to keep them sober. It will not work, okay? Make him feel absolutely free to come and go as he likes. This is important. Underline that, please. This is important. If he gets drunk, don't blame yourself. Why do alcoholics drink? If you ask an alcoholic why they drink, They'll have about 1 million excuses or reasons, right? But we know that once an alcoholic comes here and they drink, it's for one reason and one reason only. They did not treat their alcoholism with these steps. That's the bottom line here, is it not? That the disease has gone untreated. That is why they drink.
Right.
That is why when somebody says, I drank, that has come here and not worked the steps, we are not surprised, right?
Right.
I got a star by this, and I got written next to it, bottom line. God has either removed your husband's liquor problem or he has not. Doesn't say my sponsor has, doesn't say the meetings has, doesn't say the literature has, doesn't say mopping the floor or washing ashtrays has, doesn't say whoever spoke tonight has. All of those things are significant, aren't they? They all play a part in what? Our spiritual development. Everything that we have here has a purpose, and it is to facilitate, right, the 12-step process in our lives. And we do that at meetings, we do that doing service, but those things in and of themselves, listen to what I'm about to say, are not a substitute for the steps. They are support mechanisms for the steps. And until I understand that, when I first came here, I was chasing myself around here, moving my feet, trying to stay busy and outrun alcoholism. And I could not outrun alcoholism. In 3 months, it ran me down and put me in the parking lot of a bar in downtown Sandusky. And I'm going to 3 meetings Monday through Friday, 4, 5, 6, Saturday, and Sunday. And there's people here that will tell you that I did that. I cannot outrun. I cannot not out activity. I cannot out think or intellectualize. I can read books, memorize, all of that. A spiritual awakening as a result of these steps. Either God has removed the problem or he has not. Is everybody with me on that?
Yeah.
Okay? All these other things are important, but they are not a substitute for the treatment for alcoholism. Do you remember when Dr. Bob and Bill Wilson went to see Bill Dotson, AA number 3? What did they tell him? We are giving you a treatment for alcoholism. What was that? The actions that we now know are the 12 steps. 12 steps wasn't written at that point yet.
So
But the
glad y'all are
actions
here.
that
Thank
Abby
you
had
for
given Bill,
comments.
and we saw in
Yes.
Bill's story, all 12 steps, did we not? Okay. That's what they were taking. Okay. A spiritual awakening as a result of these steps. Everything else we have in Alcoholics Anonymous is a support for that. It's not a substitute for it. Okay? Save yourself a lot of grief when you understand that. Okay? If not, it had better be found out right away. Then your husband can get right down to fundamentals. Underline the word fundamentals. Okay? And the fundamentals are contained where? Within the steps. Yeah, trust God, clean house, help others. That's a good way to say the fundamentals, isn't it? Okay. If a repetition is to be prevented, place the problem along with everything else in God's hands.
Amen.
So there's some good practical experience to share not only with the family, but with the alcoholic as well, isn't it? Right? As an alcoholic sitting here reading this, I will realize if I'm having trouble, the answer is going to lie in what? My relationship with this power. That's where the problem is going to lie, in my relationship with this power. Right? It's not going to lie in my meeting attendance. I watch people go to meetings every day, die drunk. A lot of us have. Right? It's not going to be how much activity I'm doing. Some of the most active people I've seen in Alcoholics Anonymous, I've watched die drunk. It's about my relationship with God, and out of that relationship, right, an awakened spirit is born service. An awakened spirit serves. An awakened spirit is love. Love serves. So I'm not trying to take actions, right? I practice the steps, my state of being changes, and from my state of being flows the service, right? That brings me closer to this power every day. I just got to make sure that I understand that. If you got a good sponsor, I'm sure you do. Okay, let's go on. We realize that we have been giving you much direction and advice. We may have seemed to lecture. If that is so, we are sorry, for we ourselves don't always care for people who lecture us. I got this highlighted. But what we have related is based upon experience, some of it painful. I've said many, many times, the pages of this book are dripping with blood. How do they know what didn't work? Somebody needs to mute. Somebody is unmuted. Please, everybody, check and make sure you are muted. How did they know these things didn't work? All through the book, it tells us, don't do this, don't do that. How many times did it tell us not to do stuff, right? How do you think they knew that? They just guessed? They knew it because they did it and it didn't work. The pages of the book are dripping with blood. I've said that ever since I've been sober. I've understood that.
I love that.
Right? Some of the experience related in this book has been very, very painful. Okay. Let's go on. But thank God they left it for us. So we don't have to go make the same mistakes. That is why it is so important for me when I sponsor people to make sure, right, they get through the steps, of course, that they understand something about the traditions and the concepts, that they can become contributing members of this fellowship, and that we're not sitting around arguing about things that were settled in our experience in the 1940s. And you will see much of that going on in Alcoholics Anonymous today, right? We got people questioning anonymity. We got people questioning affiliation. We got all kinds of stuff going on that was settled in 1947 and 48. And it's 2018 and we argue about it. Why? Because we all know. And as a sponsor, it is my responsibility to make sure that people I work with understand those things so that we can focus on our primary purpose in here, which is to carry a message to the alcoholic who still suffers. And there's an Alcoholics Anonymous left to do that, which is why we have those things. So as a sponsor, am I doing that? Am I doing that? Okay? We had to learn these things the hard way. That is why we are anxious that you understand and that you avoid these, circle this word, unnecessary difficulties. We've already given you the guidance through our experience that you need. All you got to do is follow, right? This is, Wilson used to say, spiritual kindergarten. All I need to do is follow. Read the black print on the white page in the blue book and do what it says. Book comes in the mail. Somebody got the book. Oh, I got the book. Well, what do I do? Man, well, maybe we should read it. Okay, we should read it. It's telling us to do a lot of things. What do you think? Let's do them. That's how Alcoholics Anonymous grew exponentially all over the world. It was through the book. Alcoholics Anonymous, the fellowship as you know it today, grew out of the book. The book did not grow out of the fellowship. Because there was none. Less than 100 people located in 2 metropolitan areas in the United States. That's all there was. And a book. Read the book and do what it says. Okay?
Acronym what?
So to you out there who may soon be with us, we say good luck
Akron and Cleveland. Akron,
and God bless you. At the bottom of the page, there's an asterisk after it talks about these unnecessary difficulties. And it's about Al-Anon. And it says the Fellowship of Al-Anon Family Groups was formed about 13 years after this chapter was written, which would be 1952. Though it is entirely separate from Alcoholics Anonymous, it uses the general principles of the AA program as a guide for husbands, wives, relatives, friends, and others close to alcoholics. The foregoing pages, though addressed only to wives, indicate the problems such people may face. Alateen, for teenage children of alcoholics, is a part of Al-Anon. If there is no Al-Anon listing in your local telephone book, You may obtain further information on Al-Anon, Alateen family groups by writing to its World Service office, and there you see it's in Virginia Beach. So the principles that we're discussing, and this is what makes that chapter and the one we're about to get into so valuable to us, is that we get to see it as we've done from the standpoint of being an alcoholic, a family member, a spouse, a sponsor, or one just concerned by blood or affection with someone else who has a drinking problem. Okay? All right.
Last week he said.
So that is the end of the chapter to wives. And as I said at the very beginning, the chapter to wives was, of course, written
deficiency
by William G.
or
Wilson.
spiritual development.
All right,
What
we
is
come
your
to the
choice?
family afterward, chapter 9. So we talked about the practice of these principles in all our affairs. We talked about the chapter to wives, the family afterward, and to the employer as focusing on the three main areas. What's the three main things in our lives, right? What do you spend most of your time doing? You spend most of your time with your significant other, your family, right? And you go to work every day, don't you? Right? So the practice of these principles in all our affairs, we start now taking a look at, my first sponsor, Bill, used to say that these are the in all our affairs part of step 12, these three chapters. And people just skip over them. People call them forgotten. There is so much meat and potatoes in these chapters. It's incredible. And as a guy who is in relationships, who has family, who sponsors people, who has a job, who's a member of a community, the information here is invaluable. Okay? And it's been very helpful to me in innumerable situations. All right, so now we get to the family. So let's get to the family
Between
afterward.
30 and 40.
Our women folk have suggested certain attitudes a wife may take with the husband who is recovering. Now, do you notice that it uses the word recovering? The book really only uses the word recovered, doesn't it? We have recovered from a single open state of mind and body, right? So you will see the word, but we have recovered and have been given the power to help others. So you will see the word recovered throughout the book. What does recovered mean? We talked about it at the beginning of the book. It means that as a result of applying the steps to my life, the mental obsession has been removed. Okay? So the word recovering refers to someone who is in the process of applying the steps to their lives, but who still is new and still has the obsession to drink, has not yet had the spiritual awakening as a result of these steps. Recovered does not mean cured. There is no cure for alcoholism. The book says that. So you don't have to be afraid of the word recovered or the ignorance that surrounds it. What it simply means is, as of this day, as a result of practicing these principles imperfectly in my life, the obsession to drink has been removed. I haven't had a conscious thought of a drink in 26 years. Not one. Now, I've had a lot of other crazy thoughts that were very unspiritual, but I have not had a thought of a drink. It has been removed, right? So that's what recovered means. So when you see the word recovering, it means it's someone who's new and who is in the process of applying these steps to their life, right? All right, let's go on. And don't go to meetings and start no debate with that. Are we recovered or recovering? Is God male or female, right? Give me a break. This is not a debate society. You can call yourself the Lily of the Valley if you want to. Just come back tomorrow.
I like that.
Perhaps they created the impression that he had to be wrapped in cotton and placed on a pedestal, right? Because there was a lot of stuff in that last chapter that a lot of Al-Anons kind of balk at. Don't argue with him, right? If things get heated, walk away from it, right? Oh, if he continues to drink, remember this one, cheerfully see him through his sprees, right? Yeah, right.
With a baseball bat.
It may give the impression that, like let's wrap him up in cotton and not touch him. Let's not disturb him. We just need to serve him. This is our experience, and we went through that stuff in depth as we went through the chapter. But this is what they're talking about here. Let's get back and see what they tell us. Successful readjustment means the opposite of wrapping them in cotton wool and placing them on a pedestal. All, I got the word all circled. All members of the family should meet upon the common ground of tolerance, understanding, and love. How many times have we seen those words in the book? Patience, tolerance, understanding, love, kindness. The book calls them the watchwords. Okay? So now we're addressing the family. We are addressing the family. And it said all members of the family should meet upon the common ground of tolerance, understanding, and love. This involves a process of deflation. Deflation means to reduce or decrease. Deflation of what? Deflation of what? Somebody know? It's a 3-letter word. Ego.
We all know that one, don't we? Yes, go Elaine.
Less me, more God. And if there's more God, then there's more you. Everybody get that? Right? The steps are an exercise in ego deflation, self-reduction, and God increase in our lives. What do we seek to do every day? Grow spiritually, right? Improve our conscious contact with God. That's the purpose daily here with these steps, with this process we engage in our lives, okay? So the more God is in your life, the less you is going to be in your life. And coincidentally, the better your life will get, right? Any life run on self-will can hardly be a success, right? So we've seen all of that. If my life run on my will was successful, I would not be sitting here, okay? Let's go on. So this involves a process of deflation. The alcoholic, his wife or husband, right, whatever we got now, his children, his in-laws, each one is likely to have fixed ideas. What's another word for fixed ideas? Expectations. Thank you, Robert. Expectations. Each one is going to have expectations or fixed ideas about the family's attitude toward himself or herself. So everybody going to be what? Think about getting mine, right? Selfishness, self-centeredness, that we think is the root of the problem. So we're going to be thinking, what's in this for me? How many people have ever thought that? What's in this for me? Right? That's the guiding force of my life. Every situation I ever looked at, every relationship I've ever looked at, be it with family, be it with the community, what's in this for me? Right? Because selfishness and self-centeredness is the root of the problem. Let's go on. Each is interested in having his or her wishes respected. Of course, everybody wants their own way. We find the more one member of the family demands that the others concede to him, the more resentful they become, right? So the more I seek to impose my will in my family and my relationships, the more people are going to rebel. Now it said tolerance, understanding, and love is where we're supposed to meet. We talk in here a lot about the root, right? Selfishness, self-centeredness, that we think is the root of our problem. So if selfishness and self-centeredness is the root of our problem, then unselfishness is the root of the solution. Hence, the principle of the 12th step is what the first 11 steps are designed to bring me to. The principle of the 12th step is service. And if I have a service spirit, tolerance, understanding, and love will be the root. Unselfishness, that is what it will produce. Those will be the fruit of that root, okay? So what we're talking about is we got to change here. I got to get down off of this have it my way. And why do I have to have it my way? Why do I have to have control? Why do I have to have people do what I want them to do, things be the way I want them to be, right? Because I'm spiritually vacant. And once again, I'm looking for outside solutions to an inside
What's
problem.
wrong with that?
So I think that by
Makes
controlling
things so easy.
the world around me,
Listen to
I
me.
can gain happiness and peace of mind. You never can gain happiness and peace of mind by acquisition of things outside yourself,
Oh,
because
yeah?
nothing will ever be enough. No human being can provide in what your spirit longs for, and that's a relationship with God and the people around you. It took me my entire adult life to get to that.
Emotional support.
That's what the spirit longs for. Now the mind will tell me a new car will fix it. Mind will tell me a new job will fix it. The mind will tell me a beautiful home in Florida like Carrie is about to go to. That'll fix it, right? It's always something. But then when you get it, it never is enough, is it?
Right.
It's well, I got a house in Florida, now I need one in California, right? I got a new car, now I need a motorcycle and a boat to go with it, right? It's nothing is ever enough. Outside solutions can never address the inside issue that I have. It's a spiritual issue, right? And a spiritual issue demands a spiritual answer. Not a material answer, not a financial answer, not an intellectual answer. It demands a spiritual answer. Thank God for this book. All right, let's go on. This makes for discord and unhappiness. Yes, because people are not going to do what I want them to do, and they're going to become resentful at my attempts to control and dominate and have my way, right? So then I'm going to get resentful because they won't do what I want them to do. Everybody see the cycle, right? And that's how
Disciple?
separation occurs
Cycle,
in a
the
family.
cycle.
Oh,
Now we got
see the
people walking
cycle.
through the house silent like strangers. Separation has now occurred in our family. Okay. Let's go on. And why is it not because each wants to play the lead? Does anybody remember the director back in How It Works?
Right.
What did we talk about that director wanted to do? Arrange. Now it was an actor who wanted to be a director. It wasn't a director. It's an actor who wanted to be the director. He wanted to arrange the lights, the ballet, right? The scenery, right? He wanted to control everything. He an actor.
He an actor.
He an actor. Ain't nobody even paying him no attention,
He be an actor.
right? And he trying to run the whole thing. An actor, right? Now let's flip the script, because we're not talking about the actor right now. Who we talking about now? We're talking about the family, ain't we? Okay, now we're going to talk about the family. Let's see what happens in the family. Is it not because each wants to play the lead? Is not each trying to arrange the family to show his liking, show to his liking? Is he not unconsciously trying to see what he can take from the family life rather than give? Have we not seen this before? Have we not seen the selfishness and self-centeredness before? What we can take from life rather than what we can add to life, right? This is a recurrent thing. But now we talk about the family. Isn't it obvious what we bring into these situations? These are the reactions of people who don't want to be dominated, right? So you're trying to get yours, I'm going to get mine, right? So you end up in a situation where everybody in the home is pulling their own way. You get it? Everybody's pulling their own way, right? Everybody now wants to direct. House full of actors. Everybody want to direct. Let's go on. I said to Janelle before the meeting, I never noticed that entire paragraph is all questions. Now, every question in the book is immediately answered either in the next line or the next paragraph. So as we go forward, keep that in mind, because it's going to address all those questions in that paragraph that we just read. Let's go on. Got to start by this. Cessation of drinking is but the first step away from a highly strained abnormal condition. Now, I want you to remember this. We're not talking about the alcoholic now. We're talking about the family. Now, would that apply to the alcoholic? That cessation of drinking is but the first step from a highly strained abnormal condition. You're damn right it does, right? Remember when the book said that an alcoholic who says sobriety is enough is unthinking, right? So it's a beginning, right? The first step from a highly strained abnormal condition, not only for the alcoholic though, because remember, we're in the family after, for the family. So what is it telling me the condition of my family is when I come into this fellowship? It's highly strained and abnormal. It's highly strained and abnormal. We wear people out. We wear people out. So I get sober, and now I'm surveying the damage. I'm surveying the damage. I've seen people like me age parents and grandparents. They look 30 years older than what they really are. This is what we do to people. We bring stress, anxiety, sleepless nights, physical illness, financial difficulties into our families. Remember Bill's story, how we everything is just reduced, the reduction of expectations. We take people to a life that they never dreamed that they would live. Certainly wasn't in their plans, was it? We have people adjust their hopes, goals, dreams, and expectations for life. I have a lot of friends, and there's John is here, Terry is here, worked in automotive. And a lot of people retired fairly young with big plans, who now, because of alcoholism and addiction in their families, are raising grandchildren,
Right.
working full time again.
Yeah.
All of that, go away and, live on the golf course.
Right.
It's gone. It's gone because the children are, because of alcoholism and addiction, can't care for the grandchildren. So now the parents are raising the grandchildren. Has everybody seen this stuff happening?
Oh, yeah.
Right? So many of my
Everywhere.
friends, we used to sit around the plant talking, man, I can't wait, right? And they're all working full time, and we stay in touch. But they stepped up to the plate to raise their grandchildren because the kids can't, because of alcoholism and drug addiction. See? So I got to be awake to what's going on here. Highly strained abnormal condition? I'd say so. Let's go on. A doctor said to us, years of living with an alcoholic is almost sure to make any wife or child neurotic. Well, I would think so, right? I mean, families are the picture of neurosis by the time we get in here. The entire family is, to some extent, ill, sometimes to a greater extent than we are, aren't they?
Yeah.
What do you think, son?
Let families realize as they start their journey that all will not be fair weather. Okay? So if you look back at that paragraph, the director paragraph with all the questions, they are now giving us direction to counter that. They're saying it's going to be your natural inclination to have expectations, to try to, get what you can get out of this. Everybody's going to be grabbing. Everybody's going to want their own way. Okay, that's not going to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you from our experience some suggestions and some guidance on how you need to proceed going forward successfully. Let's go on. All will not be fair weather. Each in his turn may be footsore and may struggle. There will be alluring shortcuts and bypaths down which they may wander and lose their way. Now, let's put the sponsor hat on real quick.
Footsore
as we
is
work with others.
emotional disorder.
Have you worked with
Okay.
folk who have children who are old enough to have been affected by this disease?
Oh, God, yes, my own.
And as you're working with your sponsee, right, they'll call you and they'll say, things seem to be going well, and then today, all of a sudden, my daughter just went off, right? Or my son has become angry and violent.
Yeah.
I've watched these things.
Got that.
I've watched how the frustration and the confusion,
Yeah.
and the broken promises have affected other members of the family. So as a sponsor, right, I need to be well versed in this chapter. I need to know this is what's going to be coming. That this is what's going to be coming, right? So more than ever, and I said this a lot in the chapter to wives, this emphasizes why we need, as sponsors, to get people, the families, connected to some kind of help. Because all this stuff is coming. And those of you who work with a lot of people, and there's some of them in this room right now, we've all seen this stuff, you know. And so as a sponsor, I really want to try as best I can to get some help for the family. Let's go on. Suppose we tell you some of the obstacles a family will meet. Suppose we suggest how they may be avoided, even converted to good use for others. Remember, that's the beauty of experience. There is no waste in God's economy. Every time I learn a lesson, even if it's a bitter one, right, I got that experience to share with somebody else to keep them from going down that same hole. Okay? The family of an alcoholic longs for the return of happiness and security. Happiness and security, isn't that what everybody likes? Is searching for, right? Remember the third column in the inventory, right? And it talks about what it affected. Remember how security was in there? It's a big one in there, right? What is security? Security is what I think I need to be okay. Security is what I think I need to be okay, all right? So I want to be happy and I want to be secure, right? And alcoholism is a destroyer of happiness and security, isn't it? Okay, let's go on. They remember when father was romantic, thoughtful, and successful. Today's life is measured against that of other years, and when it falls short, the family may be unhappy. So this is where we need to work with the family about what? Expectations. Expectations, right? Okay, we remember what it used to be like in the good old days, because alcoholism is a progressive disease. We don't start out in the gutter, right? We get there over a period of time. So there's going to be people looking back at the time when things were good before this thing progressed and got out of control and saying, that's what we want, right? And in the beginning, is that a reasonable expectation? No. Cessation of drinking is but the first step from a highly strained abnormal condition. That is not going to happen overnight, and it's going to tell us that. Let's go on. Family confidence in dad is rising high. Okay, we got good times coming back. We got dad back, or we got mom back, or we got our son or daughter back, whoever it may be. The good times will soon be back, they think. Sometimes they demand that dad bring them back instantly. God, they believe, almost owes this recompense on a long overdue account. So it needs to happen, and it needs to happen right now. How many of us suffer from a lack of patience spiritually? How many of us suffer right?
They
Like,
end up-
I believe that God will. Okay? Don't make no mistake about that. Don't get that twisted. I believe that God has all power, like the book says, and I believe that God could and would if he were sought. Here's my problem.
I didn't
When?
sort him.
Does anybody know what I'm talking about? When? It used to drive me crazy when they used to say, it'll get better. It'll get better. When?
When?
I know you tell me it'll get better. I believe you. I see it in you. Your life done got better. When? Right? Stop and think about it. And I don't care if you're 20 days sober or 40 years sober. Listen to me right now. I bet you can identify. When? Now here's the answer my sponsor used to give me, and I used to hate it. In God's time. In God's time.
When's that?
And then he would tell me, and God don't wear a watch. God don't wear a watch. Okay? So in God's time, and that is the answer. Let's go on.
Meeting's over.
But the head of the house has spent years in pulling down the structures of business, romance, friendship, and health. These things are now ruined or damaged.
Oh, yeah.
I got this highlighted. It will take time to clear away the wreck. The old buildings will eventually be replaced by finer ones. This is the experience of our founders. The new structures will take years to complete. Yeah? Take years to complete. I bet you nobody in here want to hear that, do they? Right?
Years.
Some things do. But I can say this, though, and looking back, this is only my own personal experience. The years go quickly, don't they? They go quickly. You will be surprised. I heard a man say when I was new, and I've never forgotten. He said, the only thing that I don't like about this is how time passes so quickly. Right? And I was sitting there and I was new and I was thinking, when? And almost like in the twinkling of an eye. Right? I'm sitting here now. It really does pass quickly. It passes a lot quicker than you think. And here's the thing. Life will be good anyway. It's not like, well, when this happens, then I can enjoy life. You can start enjoying life today, irregardless of your situation. What is it the book said? When we look back, we realize the things that came to us when we placed ourselves in God's hands were greater than anything that we could have planned. Follow the dictates of a higher power, and you will presently live in a new and wonderful world, no matter what your present circumstances. And that's a lot of people's favorite promise in this book. No matter what your present circumstances. So your happiness, peace of mind, is not contingent upon when this happens, or when that happens, or when I get this, or when I do this. Enjoy the ride. Because none of us know how long it's going to be anyway, do we?
That's right.
Let's go on.
Father knows.
Father knows he is to blame. It may take him many seasons of hard work to be restored financially, but he shouldn't be reproached. Perhaps he will never have much money again. But the wise family will admire, this is a really cool line, him for what he has, please underline or circle this, for what he is trying to be. Circle the word be. Rather than what he is trying to get. What he is trying to be. What is he trying to be?
A better person.
An awakened spirit
spiritual person.
Yeah.
at work in your life? Patient, tolerant, kind, loving servant. What is he trying to be? What is he trying to become?
Specters, I love that word.
Mm-hmm.
The book uses that word be. Remember in the prayer about fear, we ask God to remove our fear and direct our attention to what he would have us be. What would God have me be? God would have me to be love in the lives of the people around me. That's what God would have me to be. God would have me to be a person who puts God and others ahead of myself. That's what God would have me to be. And what it's asking the family is take a look at what he's trying to be, not what he's trying to get. And you'll see things differently. And your appreciation will be different. Much different. Okay? Let's go on. Now and then the family will be plagued by specters from the past. For the drinking career of almost every alcoholic has been marked by escapades, funny, humiliating, shameful, or tragic. The first impulse will be to bury these skeletons in a dark closet and padlock the door. The family may be possessed by the idea that future happiness can only be based upon forgetfulness of the past. Anybody ever heard this?
Not regret.
What goes on in this house
Will stay in this house.
stays in this house.
No, I never heard that. Nobody in my family ever said that seriously.
Alcoholism has run rampant on both sides of my family. Rampant. And it has killed innumerable members of my family. We do not discuss it. We do not discuss it. When those names are mentioned, they are mentioned quietly, and there is no discussion. We do not discuss such things. I have been sober in Alcoholics Anonymous for 26 and a half years.
Okay, there it is.
In my family,
He does
we
this all
do
over
not
the world.
discuss it. When I was new and I was active in AA, they would say to me, "Why would you talk about that? Why would you talk about that?" Okay? Alcoholism remains to this day a shame-based disease.
Yeah.
You know, we talk so much about educating the public that this is an illness. It's not a moral issue. Okay? In my family, it is not discussed. Now, they know now that I talk about it, and they're okay with it, you know. But we don't talk about it. Let's forget that. Let's bury that. And I'm going to say this because I know that it's true. It saddens me because there's people in my family who've had experiences who could be helpful to other families. And they deny themselves that gift, that grace, and they deny other people that grace. And that's their choice. I am not the boss of anybody. But it's sad. So let's see what the book says about that attitude of let's just forget it, not talk about it. It said, we think that such a view is self-centered and in direct conflict with the new way of living. Boom, put a star by that. It is self-centered. What is it based on? It's based on what other people think of me. what I believe they're going to think of me. That's what the whole thing's based on. So therefore, it is based on what? Pride and ego, is it not? Those are the fruits of self-centeredness. Pride and ego. I've said many times in this meeting, there is no waste in God's economy. Our deepest, darkest past is our greatest asset. Does the book not say that? For with it we can avert death and misery for others. We share our experience, strength, and hope. That's how we do it. If a man came in a room when I was in detox and said things I would admit to myself, I thought you ought to be ashamed of yourself coming here saying that, right? That man, I saved my life. Because the only thing I knew when he left was he called himself alcoholic, and I was like him. That's all I knew. I didn't know mental obsession, physical allergy, spirit. I didn't know nothing. But dude said he was alcoholic, and he talked about stuff that only people like us know. It's like we like this segment of society that can talk about stuff that the rest of the world absolutely cannot wrap their head around. Can you relate to that? No. Are you nuts? Right? That's the kind of reaction we get when we share our experience with people outside of here. In here, this is what we get when we do it in here.
Yeah.
And
right?
And laughing.
That's what we get in here.
Right.
Right?
And crying.
Yep.
So it's self-centered and in direct conflict with the new way of living. What is our new way of living? What is it supposed to be? Service, right? It's all to do what? The 12 steps are designed to do what? Make me a servant. Highest you get in here, right? And so to deny or to withhold that experience from others is a direct conflict to this new way of life. Is everybody cool with that? Okay, it was pretty simple, I think. All right.
Do you know how many people I can't?
A man I admired greatly, Henry Ford.
You redeemed.
Used to put his name on my paycheck. Henry Ford once made a wise remark to the effect that experience is the thing of supreme value in life. Underline that. Experience is the thing of supreme value in life. That is true only if one is willing to turn the past to good account. Boom, right there. So how does experience become of supreme value in life? By doing what? By willing to turn it to good account. We grow. Would you circle the word grow? Isn't growth what we're after here? What do they say when we come in here? Grow or go?
Yep.
How do we grow? We grow by our willingness to face and rectify errors and convert them into assets.
Good stuff.
Old timer used to say we grew in our difficulties. And I couldn't really understand what he meant by that. He used to say we grew in our difficulties. I used to say I was diminished by my difficulties, right? But I had no solution. We grew in our difficulties. We grow by our willingness to face and rectify errors and convert them into assets. Quick, as an alcoholic, let's put the alcoholic hat on. How do I face and rectify errors in my life? Steps 10 and 11.
Yeah.
Steps 10 and 11.
Wow.
And remember that 10 is 4 through 9 on a daily basis, right?
Right.
Okay? That's how I face and rectify errors in my life, turn them to good account, and then be able to share them with people who going through something similar or who may be headed down that same road. So we grow in our difficulties. I become more useful by being willing to do that, to face and rectify my errors. Okay? Let's go on. The alcoholic's past thus becomes the principal asset of the family, and frequently it is almost the only one. Okay? Because when we start out, we ain't got too much going, but we got our experience, don't we? So as soon as we begin to turn that experience to good account and to help other people, our lives will begin to change,
Yeah.
irregardless of what's going on around us. Irregardless of what's going on around us. So as a family, talk about the family now, the experience that we've gone through can become life-changing and death-averting for another family. Life-changing and death-averting for another family.
Or within the family.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty.
Thought this was something we need to bury, turn our head from, try to forget about. Oh no. Oh no. We have a new way of life. And our new way of life is about what we can add to life, not about what we can take from it. Okay? Let's go on. This painful past may be of infinite. Infinite means unlimited. Infinite. On into infinity. Not quantifiable even. Value to other families still struggling with their problem. I got something of infinite value to share with another family. Wow, that means that it could have a very powerful impact, doesn't it? We think each family which has been relieved owes something to those who have not. We're talking about the family. Does that sound familiar to you as an alcoholic? Right? We come in here, we get all this help. Do we not owe it to those who come behind us? What do? Come in here and get ours and say, well, I got mine, I'm going out of the house. I hope the rest of y'all get yours. People who do that don't seem to fare very well, do they?
No, they go back out.
Not in my experience. So now we're now applying that to the family. And when the occasion requires, each member of it should be only too willing to bring former mistakes, no matter how grievous, out of their hiding places. So we have the fellowship of Al-Anon, and a part of that fellowship is Alateen. I get to attend a lot of conferences that have Al-Anon and Alateen participation. You want to see something really cool, go to an Alateen speaker.
Wow.
And watch their friends.
Oh, yeah. We've had
And watch the fellowship of children who have grown up with people like us, and what that does for it is an incredible thing to watch. It's absolutely incredible. And if those kids weren't willing to go and walk with these new kids, just like we do in here, here's the mistakes we've made, here's the steps, right? They use everything that we have.
Yeah.
It's an incredible thing. Showing others who suffer how we were given help is the very thing which makes life seem so worthwhile to us now. Showing others who suffer how we were given help is the very thing which makes life seem so worthwhile to us now. How many of y'all as sponsors can relate to that? Right? We can relate to it as sponsors. This is talking to the family. This is not talking to the alcoholic per se, but we can certainly identify, right? And so we share this with the family. It's the same solution. That's my point. It is the same solution. If we can get the family engaged in this, they will enjoy the same results that we had. Life is worth living. That makes life seem so worth living. Is there anything like watching another alcoholic that you're blessed to work with recover? Is there anything like that? I don't know of it. To watch life restored, it's an experience you won't want to miss, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cling to the thought
I love
that in God's hands, would you underline in God's hands? Cling to the thought that in God's hands, the dark past is the greatest possession you have. The key to life and happiness for others. With it, you can avert death and misery for them. Now, I know that applies to us as alcoholics, but this is not the alcoholic afterward. This is the family afterward. This is the family afterward. This is nitty-gritty, bottom line, basic information for the family. In God's hands. I had you underline that. In God's hands. That's when this happens. Okay. Al-Anon, Alateen, 12 steps. In God's hands. This service occurs. Okay. We'll get, I ain't all through with that, but that's our, what I got written next to that is our purpose. That's our purpose. Our purpose. Okay. We will resume there next week, page 124. Damon, mark that please, sir. All right. Butler, Pennsylvania. Seattle, Pittsburgh.